Adam Shine, Kyle Long. My goodness, the Bears. 52-21, Kyle. You played for the Bears. You understand the city. How worried should Bears fans be?
Well, Bears fans, I'm concerned as a former player. And, you know, when I look around the NFC North, I see all the other teams seeming to make progress week in, week out. A lot of questions about the Lions going into the season. I feel like a lot of those questions answered today. The Minnesota Vikings, well, they can't win with essentially a rookie quarterback. Well, they did at Soldier Field. And you take a look at the Packers. People are saying that's the best team in the National Football League right now. And for the Bears, with all the investment they've had, the high picks they've had, things are not coming to fruition. You just take a look at the draft picks that the Chicago Bears have had. People on Twitter were talking about Colston Loveland like he's on a milk carton. We want to know where Colston Loveland is, our first-round pick, tight end. Look, there were good things that we've seen from Caleb Williams, and there have been bad things that we've seen from Caleb Williams. What's fixable, by Ben Johnson and his staff? I'm not sure. I never played the quarterback position, but it seems to me that there is a lot more at play than just the quarterback being a guy who needs to come along in Chicago. And it's indicative of a very long season this year under Ben Johnson's first year in his regime.
Well, let's hit that. You say long season because in theory, new head coach, there should be patience. But in Chicago, that's not going to be the case. And I'm not being critical of the fans because, listen, Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. I thought he was going to be a superstar instantly. That wasn't the case. Obviously, a head coach last year who'll never be a head coach again. Offensive coordinator last year who'll never be an offensive coordinator again. So there was circumstance, and he needed to play better. So now, is it patience? What's fair to expect from Caleb week 3 and beyond?
I mean, you have to have patience because you have so much invested in Caleb Williams, the number 1 draft pick in the NFL draft. And to say he didn't hit the ground running, I feel like would be false because the guy did put up numbers last year. He performed at a clip that people would say, hey, we can glean something from this year. He has a lot of room to grow, and he's damn talented. So we saw that last year. What people want to see is just the simple things, the fundamentals come through for Caleb Williams. When you get a guy like Ben Johnson, somebody that can be that QB whisperer, and I hate that phrase. I've never seen a quarterback get whispered at, by the way. That is when you can see Caleb Williams make the next step. That is when you can see this run game take the next step. And I want to talk about the run game. Because they've invested in that offensive line, Adam. They've invested in trying to fix the issues they've had. They got guys who can pass protect, but I'm not quite sure they got guys that when every single fan in the stadium knows it's a run, that they can get those hard-to-earn yards. And it showed its head today, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 against Detroit. And it was still a one-score ball game. You convert there, you got a ball game. Next thing I look up, they're losing by 40 points, Adam.
So I want you to elaborate on that and also educate me because you referenced the line. I thought the Bears actually had a really good offseason with one exception. I was surprised they didn't bring in another dude to run the football, whether it was a trade, free agency, the draft. There were the trade-up Gentry rumors, draft Omarion Hampton, a lot of good, solid round 2 running backs. How much of that is on DeAndre Swift? How much on Ben Johnson? How much on Ryan Poles and everyone involved in the front office? How much of that is on the line?
Well, you have to wonder whose voice matters the most in that building. Is it Ryan Poles? Is it Ben Johnson? Because you can make an argument for both of those guys having the most important voice in the building. And as it pertains to the running back position, one thing we saw in training camp, your number 1 receiver, DJ Moore, was lined up in the backfield in the summertime. That's a problem to me. I know people say, hey, look, we love DJ. He can do everything. We might as well line him back there. I want to see Roshan Johnson. I want to see Monangai, the rookie, in there. I want to see these guys getting carries because what I've seen from DeAndre Swift, and I think Ben Johnson's getting this understanding, is that when you draw up some of these man scheme plays where it's like, okay, we're going to have the tight end block down, and then we got the tackle going out, and you're going to follow the tackle to the promised land. Those plays work great for DeAndre Swift. When we have these zone schemes where he has to leverage linebackers, set his blocks up for his offensive linemen, put his foot in the ground and get north and south, I haven't seen that consistently from their run game. They had that in Detroit. You could set your watch to how those running backs hit holes.
I also want to hit on the defense because we say, how worried should Bears fans be? Look, you know this. You were a great offensive lineman in Chicago. Michael Jordan will be the first one to tell you Andre Dawson, anyone who played for the Bulls or the Cubs. It's still playing linebacker, playing defense in Chicago. That fourth quarter for week one, give my guy J.J. McCarthy all the credit in the world. Bears defense didn't get it done. And then today, 52 points. Kyle, that's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. And you bring in a guy like Dennis Allen to be your defensive coordinator, who not only has a lot of experience being in that position, but he's been a head coach before. He's seen the game. He's seen the weeks from a different angle. I saw a lot that was promising in week one against the Vikings. Exotic fronts at the line of scrimmage, forcing the quarterback to really go through his checks and study what he's looking at pre-snap, changing it up post-snap. But I'll tell you who you can't trick. A group of badasses on the ground who intend to run the football at you until they blow the whistle and the clock say 000. That's what they ran into against the Detroit Lions. And if you can't stop the run in this league, if you can't run the football in this league, you're going to be in for a very long and spooky football season.
Bears, Cowboys coming up in week number 3. You gotta love sports.